Good old No Guest Thursday.
No Guest Thursday. Here we go. I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. I'm Glenn Hausman. That's Anthony Melcuri. We were supposed to have a guest. They didn't show. They're late. Who knows what happened?
Who's the guest?
It doesn't matter. We're not going to throw any guests under the
I know.
under the bus. But
I know who the guest is.
But now said guest has forced us to work extemporaneously with no prepreration because we barely prepared enough to get the link together for the show.
The guest was David Malilly. And he no-showed on us.
All right, that was not the guest.
So let's see if his supporters get to him and say,
I think we should just I think all of our enemies out there we should list.
Maybe well, he's not my enemy.
Well, he's going to be after that one right there, Anthony.
So I've just said to you, we didn't have a guest, and people are busy. We're all busy, but and I said to you, it's a privilege to do the show. Mm-hmm. It's a privilege to be on the show because our viewers listen. You know, we have 90,000, 100,000 downloads a month.
Don't forget our 50,000 plus video views.
Right. So a lot of people are listening, and so this is a job. I mean, this is what we do to ensure that we get the news out for everyone. So if people are coming on, it's not that easy to get on. Like, we have to really want you to be on and have the right content. And there's a lot of people we don't bring on because we just don't think it's really good for our audience.
Anthony, not to show off too much, but we actually have guests booked to the end of 2023 already. 2 months of guests in advance. I mean, woo.
Yeah. And it's and most people are cool. Most people don't ask me to be on the show. But the few that do are probably the wrong guests. I usually ask other people to be on the show. The people I think that are right for the show.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we got nothing to talk about. If you guys out there have anything that you'd like us to talk about, please let us know. Yeah.
Well, let's since it's Anthony and Glenn just riffing. Okay, so what with everything going on in the world, and we don't need to go down the litany of things. There was just another thing in Maine, and 18 people lost their lives. Horrible. With all the craziness in the world right now, what are you grateful for? Give me 3 things you're grateful for.
All right. So my Hollywood Squares answer would be, I'm grateful I'm able to compartmentalize and not have to think about anything like that. But the real answer is I'm just grateful that we seem to be in a relatively safe place, and I know my family is okay.
Yes, and listen, I don't want to get positive. I was about to pick that up and go, but I'm not going to. But I agree with you, and that's what it comes down to. And right, your family that we're able to make a living doing what we love.
Yep.
Are to see the success of our children. When I get up in the morning, like sometimes if I have a banana in the house, I'm grateful that I have a banana in the house. It's if you're living in gratefulness, it really helps you with stress, right? And we've all been very stressed through the last couple of years with everything that's going on. And so I practice not only mindfulness but gratefulness, and it's really hard to. I have moments. I had a moment yesterday, and I made sure I was practicing that because it got me out of my moment.
That's great.
And I think that's, we can focus on everything and be overwhelmed by it, or we can just do kind things and just be grateful. Yesterday I'm doing work with Colin Hotels out in Boston, New England. And I'm so fortunate to be working with them because I'm getting to work with young people who are employees, and I think I told you, and then supervisors, and then leaders that are getting to the next level. And I get so much out of it. And yesterday, in the last couple of days I was there, and it's just so refreshing to see people wanting to be in this industry and be successful in this industry. And that's our guest, right, Glenn? Texting you?
No, it's actually my son. It doesn't look like it's an emergency, but I did check to see if that was the guest texting. So sorry, please continue.
Just make sure it's not an emergency with your son.
Yeah.
Like this
It's not.
morning, right?
They're following the fine Houseman tradition about procrastinating and complaining about not getting shit done.
That's funny. So tonight is my daughter's senior volleyball uh night. So it's senior night. So all the athletes
Nice. So
we
everyone over
celebrate.
65 is coming out to play.
No, anybody that's a senior in
Oh,
college.
okay, I got it now.
Dude, you gotta stop with the dad jokes. And
Seriously, I thought it was Dad Joke Thursday
I know
here.
dad
In addition to No Guest Thursday.
and so she went through 2 ACLs, COVID, so she never played a game of volleyball
I
until her
know.
senior year. So tonight's a big deal. So everybody's trying to get there on time. Everybody's got to leave work, and so there was just something that happened this morning, and I had to help one of my daughters, and it was kind of it was 2 hours of my morning that I
Right.
didn't really have because I was
Yep.
busy, and then I got home and I was just grateful.
Yeah.
I was just like, I was grateful that I have a daughter that's successful. She's a teacher, a theater teacher, and that I needed to come and kind of help her out with something to lessen the stress. So I was grateful for that. And I guess, if you just continually to do that, hard days, but it makes it a little bit easier anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll say I'm grateful that I got to have dinner with my son Ben last Thursday, and this Friday I'm going to see my other son Jake in Pennsylvania. So
What's
this
the
is great.
menu? What was the menu on Thursday? What restaurant and what did you guys eat? Because I know anytime you and your family get together, it's a very religious experience about food.
It certainly is. But before I share that, Ken on LinkedIn is saying, "Hey, gents from Canadasa Abloy. Anthony, are you in the snack area at a courtyard?" It does kind of have that look
I
towards
am.
your background.
I am. I'm in a snack area in the courtyard, or maybe I'm just a snack.
Yeah. You did say you earlier you were getting better looking every day. It happened again. So,
I said it jokingly, but
all right. So, no joke. Going back to our meal that we had in Newton, Connecticut, Newton, Massachusetts. That was weird. So anyway, he was recommended by one of his roommates and his Mandarin teacher to go to a Taiwanese restaurant called Mulan. So we went to this Taiwanese restaurant, and we had 4 or 5 different Taiwanese dishes. We had a tofu with a spicy sauce and scallion. We had cuttlefish dumplings. We had what else did we have? We had squid in a spicy sauce, and then we had some sort of vegetable dish that I can't remember.
so when you eat these variety of things, afterwards you're fine. Like your stomach doesn't hurt, you don't get tired, nothing.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Chinese have been eating this food for thousands of years, so why should I get it? Hey, Rolando saying good day from Las Vegas. Hey, so it's public information now. I saw it online. Our friends over at Remington have the President's Club, right? And they're bringing the top 30 of their people to go see the U2 show at the Sphere. What a cool perk that is.
That is, and I'm sure they're going to like a badass dinner too.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
And you know what's shocking? They didn't invite us, man.
You know what? I told them if someone gets injured and can't make the show, I'd be happy to fill in for them.
And if they get injured and after they come out of their coma, and like, what happened? Glenn hit me in the head with a metal pipe.
Yeah.
No, when I was talking about the food you had, like I am like highly sensitive greatly as I get older.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always sensitive to spice. And you've seen me eat where the back of my neck is a puddle of water. Yeah. So I literally, if I have pepper, if you literally take a little bit of pepper and put pepper on a meal I'm eating, it's not a good day.
No, you won't even be in the same building as the Spice Girls. It's so serious. I understand.
Okay, that's a grandpa joke. It's not even a dad joke.
I know. Wait, it's gonna get worse. So I'm getting ready for Friday night audit tomorrow night, 5 o'clock Eastern, which I'll be doing from a hotel in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So you talk about compartmentalization, and you talk about, and I think we all have to do that in our whole life. And my favorite song, as I've said before, is Billy Joel. We didn't start the fire, right? Mm-hmm. So you look at the chaos, and everybody's saying the chaos is crazy. What's going on in the world? Every generation has chaos. World War I, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement, what we were doing in the South.
Mhm.
The assassinations of presidents, Vietnam War, onward and onward and onward, and racism. And it's the only thing that people can do, whether it be you, whether it be me, is show up on time, do what we say we're going to do, and try to bring a little light into the world, and not be part of the thing that brings us down. And the reason it's kind of top of mind for me and what I'm talking about is because I felt myself. I
Right.
was like, oh, this ain't good because I'm going with everybody else. And I'm like, I can't go there. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
how do you deal with that besides walking in the forest?
Yeah, just try to mindfulness, put things in perspective. You know?
Yeah.
That's
And you really live in this alternative universe where you can really block everything out.
I
And I
do. The compartmentalization thing is I mean, I joke, but it's really true. I have an incredible inability to recognize anything else in the world. I'm wondering, I'm wondering if I have some sort of medical condition with that, but it's really weird. It's really strange to me, but
Well,
yeah,
the other day when I called you and you were about to call me and you were so proud of yourself,
I
like, I'm going to
was.
call you.
I was so pissed that you beat me to it.
Yeah, it was like we went a little too long without talking. But
I know. I agree. But listen, you said your favorite song is "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. Now I got super excited because they just announced another show at Madison Square Garden. I've been meaning to go see this residency he's had for the last 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it's been. I went on to Ticketmaster, and they were the cheapest price with crappiest seats were like $400 or $500, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go do this. That's just way too much.
no, that's expensive. But you know what's even more that's horrible, and that's just kind of how
The
things are
good
now.
seats were like 3,000, $1,500, depending
And,
on what
and
you're
listen,
sitting.
I'm not like you. I don't go to the concerts all the time, and I don't see same person over and
Yep.
over again. But I've seen him 7 times,
Yeah.
and it's a great concert. It's a
Yeah.
great concert, but it's
I'd
not
have a great
worth
time. No.
not $400 worth. And
For
but
the
what's
bad seat.
fascinating?
Yeah.
What's fascinating if you look at a guy like Jimmy Buffett or Billy Joel, or I'm sure you can mention other people that haven't written a new song in forever,
Mhm.
haven't had an album since the late 80s, at least Billy Joel hasn't. And he's still packing any place he goes at high
Mhm.
rates.
It's insane.
He's not in the media. He's not
Nope.
TikToking. He's not shaking his ass somewhere. He's not chasing, 25-year-old girls. He has 2 little babies. He's raising his family. He has a new wife or a younger wife, and he's just being Billy effing Joel.
Yeah.
And like, imagine your residency is the Garden. But regardless of the Garden, if he said, I'm going to go to a stadium in Europe that's 100,000 seats, he'll fill 100,000 seats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And hasn't written a song since we were in high school.
I know. It's crazy. I do believe Billy Joel is the artist who's performed the most at Madison Square
Oh,
Garden.
yeah.
It's approaching 100 shows at
Yeah, he
this
has his
point.
own, what do you call it? He has his own
Flag. Yeah,
flag.
there's 3 music flags up there. There's Billy Joel. There's Harry Styles, who did 15 of the exact same show, I should say. And then there's Fish for doing their 13 original shows, all different each and every night in July and August of 2017. So,
Wow, you get a flag for that, huh?
yeah, man, you get a flag. You play 200 and something different songs over 13 nights. You get a flag, I guess.
And that's such a unbelievable place. I mean, I saw a UFC fight there, the first UFC fight. And it's like no other arena.
Yeah.
In the world. And people that have been to every arena in the world say the same thing. There's nothing like Madison Square Garden. And to be able to fill that place.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm sorry I cut you off because it got me thinking. And one of the things that, we won the birth lottery in terms of being born in New York, one of the most exciting cities in the United States, if not the world. We take all of these things, I think, for granted, right? And I used to remember like the first time I flew into Boston and I was looking at the downtown, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. They have like 9 buildings, It's like nothing is as exciting as New York. Not to say there's anything wrong with other places. It's just we grew up with this warped sense of reality, I think.
Yeah. And as we get older, we start using it more. And like my kids, I don't want to live in New York, blah, blah, blah. Now they love where we live, our neighborhood. They're going to move out of our neighborhood. They love our neighborhood. They love New York. And listen, you can be anywhere in 45 minutes from where I live. You can be on Broadway in 45 minutes. If it's middle of the night, I can get home in 30 minutes. and you have the real deal. You don't have the traveling show. You don't have the show that's playing, in a city that is trying to get to Broadway or was on Broadway and now is traveling. You get the real deal. But I will say something that was really cool. When I work with Colin, I stay at the Patriots Stadium. I stay
Yep.
at the Radisson in Patriots Arena. Basically, it's in the parking lot, and
Mhm.
I gotta tell you, it's kind of cool to be like that close to a stadium. And a lot of the players, I'd imagine, stay there. And it's just that was like really, really cool. It's like to have a hotel. Of all the hotels I've stayed in, I don't know. There's something about that hotel that is like you have a front row seat to every concert, to
Mhm.
every game, and the rates they get in that hotel because of its location are amazing.
Absolutely. I will see that hotel and raise you another one that I love that has the same thing. It's a Hilton Garden Inn built in to a minor league baseball stadium as part of it. So the room we had looked over the field. I
Oh
thought
wow.
that is a really, really cool thing. And you talk about this music thing. I believe is it Universal is building a hotel. I think it's in Florida right now. That's basically going to be built around an amphitheater kind of a thing. So you sit on your balcony and you watch the
Wow.
concert.
I was telling you before off camera
Yeah.
that I was working for Miller Global and I get a call and say, hey, we're going out to California. Warner Brothers, I
Yeah.
think it was Warner Brothers, wants to build a hotel company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God. So we go out there and I'm on the lot and it has Welcome Miller Global, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then they brought us through the museum think of the artifacts that Warner Brothers would have. Think
Mhm.
about it. It's priceless, right?
Yeah.
And so taking kind of like a hard rock and making
Mhm.
like Warner Brothers hard rock.
Mhm.
And I was so excited about it. So we spent 2 days charting out and whiteboarding kind of how it would look, how much is good, how much isn't good. Because we did Nickelodeon. So we did the same
Right.
thing for Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
The project went away, but it was it was a lot of fun. I don't know where I got off of that tangent, but yes, New York City
Yeah.
is like no other city in the world. I mean, I walk down New York City streets and I see no less than 3 famous people, and no one's bothering them. No one, and
Yeah.
not like me famous. I mean, real famous.
No. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of protocol in New York City. But if you really are a fan of them, I think you're allowed to go, hey, as you walk by.
This is what I would do. Like if they're literally in eye shot of me,
Yeah.
and I like them, I'm like, man, love your work, and that's it. I
Yeah.
just keep
Right.
walking, just keep
Yeah.
walking.
Totally.
Or maybe a little fist bump, but like never stopping them, never asking them for anything, and having a little bit of that. It's like
Mhm.
you appreciate your fans, and you love when people recognize you, and you take pictures with them, and you're very supportive. But when you're transitioning,
Yeah.
like when you're going from like maybe one meeting to a studio, or you're going to meet somebody for lunch,
Mhm.
like it's hard to stop on the street and give everybody the proper time. I'll take a picture.
Yeah.
But and most people that's all they want. But when I see an A-list celebrity or something, I'm afraid. This is what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid they're going to be rude.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm
And it'll
afraid,
ruin it for you.
yes. Well, no, not so much ruin it that. But what's so funny is every person that I know that is really famous is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And like what if you stop me, you've seen I've never ever been rude to anybody.
Right.
And so I would imagine, even though I have that level of fame, you would think that those people appreciate it and grateful for it.
Yeah.
But but also how many times a day is somebody going to stop? So I'm almost like, I don't want to bother you, man.
Yeah, fame is a double-edged sword. It becomes I can imagine how difficult it must become to be on all the time and make people feel good about interacting all the time.
The height of all my shows and the height of my celebrity was exactly at the point that I can handle it.
Right.
1% more,
right.
and it would have been it would have been a little tough. Then it kind of gets to this natural state where you see it, like I go to a restaurant, people notice me, whatever. But it's almost like it's like almost helping my ego. It's like I get noticed all the time, but it's enough to just say, oh, all right, people still know who I am.
Yeah.
As opposed to whereas before it was like I was literally walking in restaurants and looking where I can go hide in the corner. And maybe with our new show, and we just got a distribution deal. I can't announce it now, but when I say distribution deal, I'll talk about off camera.
Yeah, I know nothing about this. This is news to me, my friend.
It's that's a little over speak.
Okay.
Because it's not really a distribution deal. It's more of this is where it's going to show.
Right.
And
Awesome.
so we'll explain it later. And then when we announce it, I'll announce it to the world.
All right. I love how coy you're being with that right now.
What was that word you used yesterday that I
Meliorate?
Yeah. Okay. So define that word. Is it like?
I think it's just to leave kind of a.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, because that's a word I've heard, and I was like, I think I understand what it is, but I don't know what it is. So I learned things on this show, Glenn, and learning things. So this is the time of the show on Anthony and Glenn Thursdays is where I ask you, tell us something we don't know about you. And so if you need a minute, I'll take a second, and I'll tell you something you don't know.
Yeah, go for it. Tell us something you don't know about.
Something you don't know about me.
Yeah.
Let's see. When I was a little boy, my mother bought me pink bell bottoms.
When I was a boy, I went to a horseback riding camp for a couple of summers.
You went to a horseback riding camp?
I did.
Did you like it?
I like the idea of it. Not so much. I got thrown off horses multiple times, and one actually rolled on top of me because it was hot out. I'm not cut out for that.
Yeah, I love horses. That's something that people don't know about me. I love dogs and I love animals, but there's something about horses, man.
Yep. I love them so much. I know that sounds really weird, but my grandparents went to the racetrack all the time after they were retired. They were at like every day of the week except Tuesdays because Aqueduct or Belmont Park here in New York were closed. They even went to Saratoga, which runs races in August. Every summer, they would go and do that. So I was like going and interacting with the horses from a very young age. And I just loved seeing those incredible animals, which made me want to go do the horseback riding camp.
Okay, so now this is the time of the show that we ask each other a question. So I'm going to ask you a question. And what was your group of friends like in high school?
What was my group of friends like in high school? I don't know. They were nice, nice people. We were all firmly not in the cool kids group. So a bunch of we were kind of in the middle. We were rejected by some groups, and what are you gonna do?
And were you the AP kids, the smart kids?
No, I was put zero effort into anything I did up until about last Thursday. So I did not excel in school. I did the bare minimum to get by. As a matter of fact, when my mom would knock on the door and see if I was studying, I'd hold up my textbook, which had a comic book inside of it, for example, that I was really reading,
Of course you were.
Yeah. Oh, Kim says she hasn't seen our cat in ages. Well, one of them is taking a nap over there, and I don't want to wake her up.
So my group of friends, I would say my core group of friends were, I would say 50% the smart kids, 50% the kids didn't apply themselves, and I was in Sing, which is a theater group, which I just hung out with because my friends hung out. And so we did Sing. But I would have loved to play baseball, but I never had the confidence enough to try out for the team. Yeah. So I didn't. But but I wasn't so we would hang out. Like I had maybe three or four friends that were, I'd say two of them were really, really smart and two of them were more like me. And one of them was in the resource room with me. See, kids, the resource room, man, you can do good things.
Listen, it's so good. They basically made a TV show out of it. Welcome Back, Carter, right? Because those kids were, in that.
Well, I don't think I was as bad as Horseshack. You know what it was? What was great about the resource room was, and you know this, that it takes me a second to learn something, but when I learn it, I know it better than the person that taught it to me. Yep. And so in school, I just needed a second. I needed a second. I'm not the kid that's going to say, yeah, I know it. It's like I I need a second to really study and study. Yesterday we were working on something,
Right.
and I'm breaking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down to it was almost nothing,
Right.
and it was this big compared to this big, and they were like, "Oh, that's really good." It's like, yeah, I can only deal with this. Because if you deal with this, then you can be authentic. If you're dealing with a lot of stuff. So I learned, I guess, because maybe whatever learning disability I had, to really focus on what's important and then take that and minimize it, and then that could really catapult you.
Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
everyone learns differently. Everyone learns differently. I won Jeopardy last night at my house, so that's
what? Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, they watch Jeopardy as a family very frequently and go back and forth
every night,
answer.
7:00,
Right.
and then and if my kids aren't home, I will just text, or if one of my kids are home, we'll text the family chat. Dad wins, and it's always like, okay, once a year is pretty good, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife is really incredible. She can be on it, and my daughter Mia is good. They're all good. We're getting better. But every time Jeopardy plays, I think they're going to say Alex Trebek. So it's hard to get that out of my head.
You know what? Speaking of Alex Trebek, I like Ken Jennings, and I listen to a podcast he does called Omnibus, which is great, where they tell little stories of history that are not in the mainstream. It's
wow! That I'm going to maybe listen to it. And I like what's her name? How do you say her name?
Maya Bialik.
When she's on, I'm the happiest guy in the world. I like him. He's good. He's a good facilitator. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing exciting about it. But when she's on, I'm so happy.
Yeah, and I'm wondering where those Blossom reruns are, because
you know she has a PhD.
Yeah, I think it's in some sort of science,
forensic science, or some
sort of science category.
Actually, what's the science they do on the show on Big Bang?
Physics.
Yeah, physics. Yeah, I was a PhD in physics.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're smart people. And what I love about her is she's one of the child stars that tapped out, went to college, became a doctor, and then tapped back in and did it at the highest level ever. And if she was grinding all those years, I don't think she'd be successful.
I know. I love that some people leave Hollywood to go get that education. I really do think it helps them in the long run. Probably helps them emotionally with that transition from being a child star to a normal human being.
Yeah. Jodie Foster went to Yale, I believe, right?
I don't know. I just when I think Jodie Foster, outside of her movies, I just think of John David Hinckley.
Oh my God, really? Oh, you're a sick bastard.
I know.
I think of and Brooke Shield, I think, went to Yale, and that kid Superman Kane, he went to Yale, I believe.
Yeah. And Danica McKellar from Wonder Years also went somewhere pretty good like that.
Yeah, it's amazing that they're able to get that kind of education young while they're being a star to get them into those kind of schools.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And one little historical note for some of our younger people over there. John David Hinckley attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan and did it to show his love for Jodie Foster because she wasn't responding to him. So it was really
for the younger people out there, you know what they're taking? Who's Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
It's so weird. I was reading something the other day that things just disappear, right? Yeah. You watch the World Series, when in the 70s, I was watching the Yankees win, and Reggie Jackson hits 3 home runs, and the New York is alive, and it's gone. And then, like, Ronald Reagan is gone. And, like, everything just was and is no longer, and everyone forgets.
Yeah.
Everyone it just disappears.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. I've been thinking a lot about pop culture and stuff. And when you hear things that are so massive and part of pop culture, they'll be there forever, right? You hear like Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe. They're there, but they're really starting to fade into the distance with our generation. I don't think that my kids or their kids are going to have any concept of those types of people.
No, I don't think so. I think those kids, it's going to stop at Britney Spears. Right. No, I'm serious. I mean, because they were 5 when Britney Spears started, and the time they're our age, they have no idea.
I also find
I'll walk into a room, right, and if there's, say, 20 people, and if they're under the age of 20, no one has a clue who I am. If they're over the age of 20, I'd say about 21, maybe,
Mhm.
but really like 30, 35, then most of the people in there will recognize me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and it's really good, and it's really it keeps you really humble that you, and I love it, by the way. And because it really, like, I could just talk about the hotel business. I don't talk about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Like who cares? And so, and that's just on a little. So imagine you're like a Joe DiMaggio, and you're big for decades, and then like 70 years later, like you disappear too.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Look
That
at
just
Ali. Ali starting to disappear.
Yeah, I know. But that also helps, I think, me not take things so seriously, you
Yeah,
know?
it's listen, we're here for a second, and I've never
Uh,
really taken myself seriously. I take what I do seriously, but I've never, and I think you've been around me enough to know that every
right.
single moment, especially when it comes to that celebrity part of my life, is like I look at you like a little kid. Like I'm so humbled by it.
That's amazing. All right, so Mike McManus is giving us a generational issue. My daughter in high school taking law and me and studying O.J. Simpson case, and the kids didn't know he played football.
Oh
But
my god!
well, please tell me they knew he was in the Naked Gun movies.
Oh my god! They didn't know O.J. Simpson played football.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little shocking. I'm
I
sorry.
know. All right. So Gordon is asking, hey, if not for hospitality, what would you all do? He's saying Habitat for Humanity would be what Mike would do. What would you do, Anthony?
Wow. Yeah. If it wasn't to make a living, I would love to do things like that. Well, I was down in Honduras, and I saw the Jesuit priests like just taking care of people. No fame, no fortune, no nothing. And I had such an affinity. Like, why wouldn't I stay here and do this the rest of my life? So yeah, I completely understand that. And that would be something that would be wonderful. But if I was making a living
Mhm.
and supporting my family and had made money, um, I think if I had the right direction and right coaching, I would have done something in wrestling or something in some type of sport, whether it
Right.
be race car driving or boxing, that I would at least got to the collegiate level and maybe, minor leagues or something, and or maybe even gone on to something else. But I would say right now, if you ask me what I would want to do if I went back, this is going to be weird.
Yeah.
A goalie in hockey.
Really?
I had one little taste of it on my show in Canada,
Yeah.
and it took to me like just really a great fitting suit. I was just like,
That
I
hurts.
I'm meant to do this. Like I want to be a goalie because I like it. Like in wrestling, I like being part of a team, but you also have to score points
Hmm.
in order for your team to win. Um, as a goalie, it's you, man. It's all you.
Yeah.
It's a very individualized sport,
Hmm.
but you're part of the team, and
Yeah.
everything that you do, it depends if your team wins or not.
Yeah.
So I love that pressure, and I just love the anticipation of somebody trying to take my head off with a puck.
Mike is saying, I still think both of you would be great rugby players. What you want us to get injured?
Okay. Well, let me tell you, I played rugby in the Air Force. On base, so it was just
Yeah.
more of a pickup rugby, and I will tell you that I was in pain all the time, and I tapped out. I was just
Yeah.
like, I got hurt a lot, and
Yeah.
I never got hurt, but I was just like, when one of those guys hits an outside, I was an outside, and
Hmm.
when they hit you, it's they're it's thick, if not thicker than football players with no pads on.
Oh my God, that sounds so painful.
Yeah, and you get in the scrum, and they kick the
Yeah.
ball. They try to get the ball out of the scrum, and if you fall in the scrum, they have no mercy. Your head could
Yeah.
be the ball.
All
So I
right.
was like, yeah, this is not for me.
I missed this. I missed this a few minutes ago, but I feel obliged to correct you. Brooke Shields went to Princeton.
Yes,
Princeton. All
yes. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I
right.
think she met her boyfriend, her first love, the Superman. What's his name? Dean Kane or something.
Oh yeah,
I think they
I
met
thought
at
I thought she met her first love on a desert island.
yeah, that's Blue Lagoon, and that's a great bad. Talk about could you get away with that today? That
No,
movie?
it's funny you should say that. I have something against that movie because I think it was highly inappropriate with what they did to an underage female, right? So it was one of my wife's favorite movies, but then she just recently watched some sort of Brooke Shields documentary about how her mom made her do all of these
Oh
things
yeah.
and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. And now she's like disgusted that she ever liked that.
Yeah, her
movie.
mom was a stage mom, and but if you go back, you can't go back to what it was, right?
Yeah.
If you, I watched the All in Family clips the other day on TikTok, dude. You can't watch that show
Yeah.
today. It's like
Yeah.
even if you're watching it and somebody's watching you watch it, it's horrible. And same thing with the Jeffersons. It's like, but it was like at the time, if no one was talking about those things, and what I loved about it is they came together eventually. It's like
Yeah.
the Jeffersons, and so things are different.
Things are very different. I'll give you a story. Yeah, go on.
Go ahead. No, tell me the story.
I've got a story about how things are so different. One of my favorite movies in the 80s and early 90s was Revenge of the Nerds, right? Didn't think anything of it. You look back on that movie, there's like scenes of like rape and stuff in there, right? Not like violent rape, but there's a scene where he pretends to be somebody else to have sex with somebody's girlfriend, and she doesn't know that that's him, right?
Oh my
And
God.
there's an instance where they put a naked picture out there under a pie of somebody without their permission. And there's a lot of these, and they were spying on women, by drilling cameras and into their showers and into their bedrooms and stuff like that. All very funny stuff in 1986 when I was a teenager. But
I don't think it was ever funny. I never think it was funny. I think we were desensitized to it and we never realized.
Never thought about it.
That's why we're here where we are. Because how do you not think about that, right? One of my best friends in the whole world, Leo Rossi, who's an actor in Hollywood, was in The Accused,
right?
Okay, and with Jodie Foster,
yeah,
and he's the antagonist where he goes, "I remember you," and she was raped on the pool table,
right?
And like that's like I don't know if you can watch that movie today. It's really like, and even when I watch him in there, because again, the guy goes to church every day. The guy is he's just one of the best humans I've ever met. And to see him in that movie, I'm like, and I know he had to do a lot of work with himself to even be in that movie, because that's tough for a guy like him, because he's such a good man. And things are absolutely different. On the other side, there is too much sensitivity.
Yeah.
On certain things.
Yeah.
For
sure. They show The White Shadow. White coach that coaches a high school basketball team in Crenshaw, way ahead of its time. Yeah, that was I recall that being a good show.
That was a good show. So, all right, so we got to go because I got to start getting ready for something. And
let me just do
we get on with no agenda, and look what we do. We do magic.
Almost 38 minutes later. Hey, everybody, please go to No Vacancy News and Podcasts. I'm doing a special show at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. Register for that. It's all about how you can make your hotel more profitable by going local, not just food and beverage, local services, local businesses, all of that kind of stuff. So it should be a whole lot of fun. Anthony, I love that you're working with those good folks over at Coleman, training that next generation of hoteliers.
I've had a long relationship with them. I did a speaking gig for them like 5 years ago, and there's something that was a magnet for me for them. Like they do it right, man. They do it so well. And the owner of the company is the smartest person I've ever met in this business. But I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
There was a project, and I won't go into the project. There was a project in not a local, not in a market that anyone would have star report knowledge in their brain. And I said, hey, there's this deal. Maybe you want to take a look at it, blah, 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 blah. And he said, there's these hotels in the market. They're getting this average rate. And to build that brand, you need this average rate. I don't know if it'll work, but I'll take a look at it. Yeah. I didn't even think he ever heard of the town, let alone knew the star report.
Right. Yeah.
So I love when I can learn from people.
Yeah. And that's important. Hey, and you know what we love to do every day is have you learn from the great conversations that we have. That's why we want you to go check out our audio podcast feed. You can find that wherever you get podcasts. Just type in No Vacancy Podcast. You'll find us there. And if you're listening to us right now, why not make friends with us online? Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and of course, every show's over at NoVacancyNews.com. I want to thank all of you for another great week here at No Vacancy. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See you all next week.